What else goes into that process before you even post the role? How much do you need to work with hiring managers to iron out what you're exactly looking for, especially for those roles that aren't evergreen?
So typically, I am going to take a first pass at the JD, at least every new role to date. Oftentimes, there is someone that we know, maybe that they're not exactly the right fit, but we know we want someone like this person that's out there. So oftentimes, I'll start kind of drafting something similar to that individual and then go through a few iterations with the hiring manager on what the JD should look like before we post it or before we start looking proactively for candidates for that role. And from there, similar to what I said before around screening, I'll usually, or one of the other recruiters will usually bring a first batch of candidates, whether they've applied or whether we've sourced them to the hiring manager, just to say, hey, here's the 20 candidates we have. Here's the 7 that we think are really spot on. Wanted to get your feedback on those before we start engaging and getting into conversations so that we're all on the same page. And then after that first batch, from an outreach perspective or a screening perspective, assuming we're pretty close from that first time, again, we'll continue to duplicate that and then pull in the hiring manager for whatever parts of the interview they need to be facilitating. And then I'd say going back, another piece of the early planning process to talk through who will be interviewing that individual, what types of interviews we want to do, skills-based, fit-based, behavioral, et cetera. We have some different tools that we use as well. And so I'd say the aligning on the skills, expertise, everything that comes for the JD, the interview slate, how we want to assess these individuals. And then certainly the comp is something that we lean, I don't want to say heavily, but we work quite closely with the hiring managers as well as our finance team on that as well.